James Rumbaugh. I grew up in Robinson and went to the school, Montour, where we're sitting right now, which of course you don't know that on camera. But I started playing clarinet when I was 10. And of course went to Burkett Elementary, which is kind of gone now. And then met Clem when I was 12 years old, and then David E. Williams Junior High, and then came up to Montour High School for my last 4 years. My grandfather was a musician and played in a lot of dance bands in like the 30s and 40s. He also played violin and viola, but then he played sousaphone and stand-up bass in dance bands, and we have a lot of pictures of the different bands that he was in. So I kind of had, and my mother played piano and organ, like a big Hammond organ in our house, almost A100, big organs. And I remember going to lessons with her when I was really little. I was a little kid, and she would go downtown to, I think, Horns, and get organ lessons down there from Bill Bickle, which a lot of people might remember Bill Bickle. And I used to go to the lessons, and I would sit there in the corner, and she'd get me like a book or something to with little pictures and stuff to try to keep me quiet. And even though I was looking at the book and I really wasn't paying any attention to her organ lesson, we would get home and she would be playing the organ and she'd say, "This doesn't sound right." And I saw, "You have to have this button on." And I'd go over and hit the button on the organ, and then she'd say, oh yeah, that's right. That sounds right now. So I was taking this in even though I wasn't paying attention. And I guess I got some organ lessons even though I wasn't through osmosis, just kind of being there in the room. I'm not sure. I was like 9 years old or so, and you could choose an instrument and be in the band. And my parents said, "What do you want to play?" And I thought about it for weeks, and thought about trombone and all kind of, because I didn't really know anything about all the different instruments. I kind of knew what they looked like, but didn't know anything about how to play any of them. And I don't know how I just sort of ended up with a clarinet. It's just kind of a random choice. Joe Peakey thought that I should have a better clarinet because I just had a plastic one. So he went to one of these distributors and got me like 5 fancy clarinets, and he said, "Here, take these home, but be careful because these are like, they're professional clarinets. They're valuable, kind of expensive, and try them out and see what you think." And then I picked the brand and model that I liked, and then I found a place to get a good deal, and my grandfather actually bought it for me. So I'm still actually playing that same clarinet this afternoon in rehearsal. It's the same one that my grandfather bought when I was a senior in high school. Yeah, because he was the teacher at David E. Williams, and I was 12 years old, and I don't know, he was in his 20s. So he was quite young too. He wasn't that much older than me, but he was like, I don't know, 23 or 4, 5. I can't remember exactly how old he was, but he was in his 20s. Yeah, my brother played trumpet for about maybe a year, and he quit partway through the year and then didn't tell anybody, like didn't tell our parents. And then when my mother went in for the PTA meetings and the parent-teacher thing, and went in to talk to Clem, and Clem said, "I don't have any kid of yours in here." And she said, "Oh yeah, George Rumbaugh," and he said, I know who he is, but he's not in the band." And she was so embarrassed. So like the next year, when I was in 7th grade and I was 12 years old, she said, "I'm half afraid to come in here." And he said, "It's okay, come on in." He said he won't put his clarinet down. My kids are in line ready to go to lunch, and he's still sitting there playing. He didn't care about lunch and running down to the cafeteria. He's still sitting there playing. So he said, "It's okay, come on in." I don't know if you're aware of the 2 splits. that the West Hills Band had. The first one was in 1976. Half the band were Jehovah's Witnesses, and they don't play patriotic music. And in 1976, of course, you're going to do a bicentennial show, the bicentennial concert, and they don't play patriotic music. So like half the band quit. And it was a big chunk out of the band. So Joe Peakey had to fill in the holes, like, the chairs with high school kids. And I was a high school kid. I was 17. And that's how I got into West Hills. Because it was mostly professionals for the first 10 years. And then they had that split. And then now you've got half professionals and half high school kids. And then the band kind of built up again. And then sometime in the 80s, I can't remember, there was a second split. Half the band disappeared again, and then you had to fill that in again with high school kids. Caliber of musicians, just like when I would talk about the two splits, it was mostly all professionals that played in the area. And I remember going to the concerts when I was a kid. I remember being in 9th and 10th grade and going to the West Hills concerts and saying, what a cool group. I'll never be able to play in this group, because they were all big shot professionals. And then when they had the split and needed high school kids, and I ended up actually getting in there, I was just amazed that I was allowed to play in this group. And then the second split, and then the level dropped again, but then the level started to build back up again. And then with Clem having such fun literature to play and really raising the caliber of the band up, now there's a waiting list to get into West Hills. So there was no, I don't know if they had a waiting list back in the 60s or not. I didn't really know about the workings of the band back then. And they used to have a West Hills Symphony ball.
Really?
Once a year they would have a big ball. It was really fun to go to. I didn't go for a few years, and then Joe Peakey yelled at me in his official style. He said, Rumbaugh, are you going to the ball this year? And I'd say, I'm probably not. And he said, why the hell not? Because he said you get a free dinner. There's a live dance band, which was made up of West Hills people. And, they had like 20, 25 piece dance bands. And then people would actually get on the dance floor and dance. So, and, you put on, nice suits and things and go to the West Hills Symphony Ball. And they did that for quite a few years. And then that sort of changed. That sort of disappeared. So, but it's interesting to watch, that it sort of started out up here and had a little dip and then made it back up again. And now I think that, the caliber's really high, even though they still let me play. But I've gotten better. Right now we're rehearsing for HMS Pinafore, the Pittsburgh Savoyards. So I've been playing with them for, I'm not sure how many years, about 20 some years with them. They've been around though for, I forgot now, I've lost count, 85 years, something like that. They're 1 year older than the Pittsburgh Opera, which is kind of funny. The semi-professional group was 1 year older than the professional group. So the rehearsals have been going on for that. So that's going to be opening up in March. And it's one of the three that people know the most, like Pirates of Penzance, HMS Pinafore, and Mikado. They know the most. And we more recently did Patience, and we do a lot of the other ones that are lesser known, but they're really a lot of fun. Radical and a lot of these other Gilbert and Sullivan things. So that's mostly what they do. It's Gilbert and Sullivan, but they've kind of branched out now because it's easier to get grants and things if you're a little more versatile. So up in December we did Babes in Toyland. So I played for that. They do a lot of other shows in between in the summer, and then for Christmas still they've done It's a Wonderful Life, things like that. I've also done a lot of Eastern European music. So even when I was in high school, about around the same time I joined West Hills, I was playing for a group down in McKees Rocks called Slavyane, which is a Carpatho-Rusin group. It's mainly a dance group. They do singing, and then I would play in the little combo that backed up the dancers and singers. So the first thing I learned to play was Macedonian music. So I was playing Macedonian clarinet. And then later learned Bulgarian and some other things, other Eastern European groups. And then later started going to a Balkan music and dance camp put on by the EEFC, which is the Eastern European Folk Life Center. And they have classes in Balkan instruments, dancing, singing, and all these kind of things. And then you do that for a week and learn different Bulgarian instruments, Greek things, like learn to play the lauto, which is hard to spell and pronounce. But it's a 4-course string instrument that is good for backing up a santuri. There is a santuri class there. Santuri is a Greek hammered dulcimer. Looks like a hammered dulcimer, but it's chromatic instead of diatonic. So we can play in all those weird modes. And then the lauto is a good instrument to back that up. So my other half, Lynette, plays the santuri, and then she would play these melodies, and then I would back her up with the lauto. So it's one of the things that we play. I don't know if you've ever heard of the Balkan Babes. It's an Eastern European women's singing ensemble that they started about 30 years ago, maybe. And then I play, and it's backup for them singing. It's like 9 or 10 women singers, and then they have a few of us in the background. Lynette would play accordion, and I would play clarinet. Sometimes we would use the ethnic instruments, and she would play the godolka, which is kind of a Bulgarian violin kind of thing, and I would play kaval, which is a Bulgarian flute. Once I even played Bulgarian bagpipes. For one of the Bulgarian bagpipes are made out of an inside-out goat. It's an unusual instrument, but a lot of that music is really fun. It's really different, and you get to play in weird time signatures and things. So, the music that we play is a lot of fun, but then mostly the people. I've known a lot of these people for decades, and besides knowing Clem since I was 12, it's just fun to come here. Even if the music wasn't fun, I would still come because the people are so fun. But then the music's fun too. We have challenging music, and it's just a good time. The conductors, Clem and Tom. You can't look for somebody to be your leader, and a leader sort of steps up and says, "Okay, I'll do this band." But there are other community groups in the area, and they're fine. And a lot of the people in West Hills also play in a lot of these other groups, and they enjoy them and have a lot of fun, I'm sure. But the conductors, I think, really make the difference in how much fun is the group, because they're choosing the literature you're playing, and then that's also how they conduct the rehearsals. Are the rehearsals fun, or are they a chore? And the rehearsals here are just always fun. And we get all the jokes and things from Clem and Tom too. Tom's very funny too. It's just hard to compete with Clem because he's so funny. I don't know if other groups are quite as fun as this one. They could be, but I doubt it. I doubt they're this fun.